We shall now study the Keynesian model of equilibrium, using visual examples. In the Keynesian model, there are three states of equilibrium. As previously stated, the three states of Keynesian equilibrium will be examined by breaking them down into three major divisions and equilibrium points. As is customary, the x-axis represents real GDP, or GDPR, and the y-axis indicates the general price level. Draw the reversed, L-shaped Keynesian aggregate supply curve, and the aggregate demand curve, AD, with the YPT, at full employment. This is known as the full employment equilibrium. Then, construct another aggregate demand curve, AD1, with an equilibrium output, interconnected with a deflationary gap, YEDG. Finally, generate the third aggregate demand curve, AD2, with an equilibrium output, related to the inflationary gap, YEIG. The space between YEDG and YPT is referred to as Section 1, or the deflationary gap. The Section 2, or inflationary gap, is depicted from YPT to YEIG. The vertical line from the end of Section 2 until the end of the line is denoted as Section 3, or maximum production. We'll go over each section in depth shortly. The figure depicts three sections of the Keynesian aggregate supply curve. Section 1 shows that real GDP is low, and that the price level remains constant, while real GDP rises. There is a great deal of resource unemployment, and spare capacity in that sector of real GDP. Spare capacity refers to physical capital such as machinery, apparatus, and the like, that companies have, but do not use. Firms can readily expand output by utilizing displaced capital and other unused resources, without having to raise wages or other resource expenses. In Section 2, real GDP growth is accompanied by price rises. The reason for this is that, as output rises, so does resource utilization, and eventually bottlenecks in resource supplies emerge, since there is no longer any spare capacity in the economy. Wages and other prices for resources start to climb, raising production costs. Firms will only raise output if they can sell it at higher rates. As a result, rising output leads to higher prices. At output level YPT, the economy has reached full employment in terms of real GDP. This is also its potential output level, and unemployment has decreased to the point where it equals the natural rate of unemployment. However, as we are all aware, the natural rate of unemployment is not maximum employment, as unemployment might decrease even further, as is the case when real GDP continues to rise above YPT. Real GDP can rise further until it reaches Section 3. In Section 3, the AS curve reaches vertical at Ymax, signifying that real GDP has reached a point beyond which it can no longer increase. At this point, the price level increases rapidly. Because firms are utilizing the maximum quantity of labor and all other assets in the economy, real GDP can no longer expand. Because real GDP is unable to grow any further, any efforts by firms to enhance production only result in additional price increases.